video to help you really focus on activating your deeper part of your core. So trying not to compensate with the bigger, more superficial muscles and really zoning in on using those muscles correctly and just challenging them with some nice basic Pilates moves. And this will be your level 1, and I will add some progressions in the coming videos. Okay, so all I've got is a mat, I've got a ball, but you can use a pillow if you haven't got a ball. I've got a couple of hand weights, again not needed, you can do it without, or if you've got some cans or some bottles of water you can use that. Okay, so let's get going. We're going to lie down on the back and the ball's going to go between the knees. Just take a moment to check your posture, so nice wide collarbones, length through the back of the neck, and find that position of neutral through your lower back. If you're unsure, just make a little diamond shape, place the thumbs in the belly button, let your fingers rest on top of the pubic bone, and they should be pretty much level. Or as a rough guide, you should just be able to slide fingers into lower back. Mount the rib cage down and just make sure you're not flaring those ribs forwards. Okay, so we're just going to start with some nice deep breaths in and out, just relaxing, letting everything move. Taking a nice deep breath in, open up the ribs, and then as you breathe out, just feel those ribs relax and recoil. We'll do it again, taking a nice deep breath in, and breath out, feel the ribs just relax back in. Yeah, so having your hands on your rib cage might be helpful. You can just feel for that movement in and out as you're breathing. Okay, so then let's start to connect a little bit more into our deeper core now. So we're going to take a nice deep breath in. As you breathe out, gentle squeeze of the ball. I'm going to start to engage the core and engage the pelvic floor. And then as you breathe in, release and let it go. So with each exhale, feel a little bit of inner thigh work as you squeeze the ball. Imagine your pelvic floor is an elevator, lifting up or drawing the front of the pelvis together. And then as you breathe in, release and relax it or let it go. Okay, so nice and simple. All we're doing with every exhale, ball squeeze, switching on the core. And with each inhale, we release and we let go. Okay, and we'll do a few more like that. And the whole time when you're doing these moves, you want to think about just maintaining the shape of the back, so we're not allowing the ribs to come up and off, we're not flattening or tucking our tailbone underneath. And we shouldn't really be feeling much going on with these bigger, more superficial upper abdominal muscles. If anything, all we'll be feeling is a subtle tightening and drawing in around the lower tummy. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit in now. So if you've got your weights and you want to use them, great, or if you're just going to do it without, that's also fine. So we're going to take a breath in to prepare. And as you breathe out, squeezing the ball, same thing with your core, but we're going to float one hand up and overhead. And as you breathe in, bring that hand back, relax, let it go. Same thing on the other side. Exhale, ball squeeze. Use that deep core, float the arm overhead. Inhale, release, and let go. Okay, so it's the same thing. We're using the exhalation to switch on those deeper muscles. And as you breathe in, you're going to relax and let it go. Extra thing just to think about here as we're taking the arms up and overhead is that you don't allow your rib cage to lift and you arch your back. You keep that posture throughout. And if you need to take an extra breath in the middle here just to reset, that's fine. You go at your own pace. And as I said, the weights are optional, right? So it's going to make it more challenging. So maybe if it's your first time doing it, we just work with our body weight instead. Changing it slightly now, both hands are going overhead. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, connect through the ball. Start to feel the pelvic floor, feel the lower tummy kick in. Floating the arms overhead without arching the back. And as you breathe in, release, and we're going to let it go. Okay, so you'll all have different ways in which you want to tell your body to engage your core. So we can think about it from the pelvic floor itself, maybe thinking of the pelvic floor as an elevator. So as you're breathing out, imagine you're closing the elevator doors and that elevator is lifting up, your pelvic floor is lifting up. And as you breathe in, we lower the elevator down, and we open the doors, we let it go. Okay, or perhaps we think about it a little bit more like a belt around that lower part of our tummy. Whichever way you're thinking about it, or a corset tightening, use that cue with each out breath overhead. Okay, we're changing it again. Opening to the side now. In breath, open one hand to the side. As you breathe out, Squeezing that ball slightly, connecting into your core, pull back in. Breathing in, the other hand goes out to the side. And then breathing out with that squeeze and pull back in. And then just checking in again with that posture, making sure you've not allowed the rib cage to lift and arch through your back. You've still got that little tiny gap in your lower back. And you're just moving the arms independently of anything else. Okay. We'll do a few more. Breathing out as you pull back in. And as that weight comes back in with you, we go exhale, little ball squeeze. Feel that deep lower tummy kick in. And then as you breathe in, we relax and we let it go. Okay, so we're just going to double that up now, both hands together. So we're going to go breath in, both hands to the side. Breath out, squeeze the ball, connect into your core, pull the hands back in. So obviously the further you go with this range, the bigger the challenge. So you can just find a range that feels good to you. So that might just be a half range. In breath here. Out breath, we squeeze and we pull back in. So it's a nice one to really visualize that kind of elevated doors closing before you lift up. Yeah, so as your hands are coming back in, we can also get the idea of closure. Or even goes for the same goes for your corset or your belt. We go exhale, squeeze, use that cue to switch on your core. Last one. Okay. So we're going to take the ball out now and just place that to the side. And just reach both hands up. Again, with or without weights, it doesn't matter. We're going to start to move from the legs. As you breathe in, you're going to rotate your left knee out to the side, but without anything else joining in. As you breathe out, we're going to pull it back into the middle. And we're just going to alternate from one side to the other. So it's quite tempting here to go quite far, and then you see your back wants to join in. But we fix and we hold that shape, okay? So it's just that controlled rotation in and out. And then let's think about what our core's doing with that. So you're going to take the knee out to the side on the in-breath, and then on the out-breath, feel a little bit of inner thigh to pull that leg back in. Then start to feel it connecting through the deep tummy, through the pelvic floor. So it's an inhale on the way out, and an exhale to draw that knee back in. So still quite subtle, we're not using any of these bigger muscles. We shouldn't feel any tensing up here. We've got this deep control coming from below. And then if you're happy with that, a bit of a brain workout, we're going to add the arms in as well. So it's opposite arm, opposite leg. So it's just bringing in a little bit more coordination, bringing in a little bit more work through your core. But the breath pattern will be the same. Breathe in, rotate the knee and the arm to the side. Breathe out, connect into your deep core, you pull back in. Inhale again, you go out to the side. Exhale, draw back into the center. So the range again is up to you, as long as you can keep your form, so you're not twisting the upper back or the lower back. You can go as far as you feel comfortable. But the real control and where we're trying to get that deep core working is as you're pulling the arm back in, as you're pulling the leg back in. One more. Okay, so we switch it again, and maybe have a little rejig, just make sure you're in that neutral posture, not tensing up through the shoulders. So we'll start again. So this time, take a breath in. As you breathe out, reaching one leg away, so it's just hovering above the mat. And as you breathe in, fold it back into the mat. So each time you're kicking that leg out straight, I really want you to think about length. Like you're stretching through the front of your hip, you're pointing your toes, so it's quite an active reach. But nothing changes here. So our back isn't arching. We keep this posture as we move. So with that connection to the core, it'll be breath in to prepare. Breath out, start to feel the deep core. Corset muscles tighten, pelvic floor lifts, we reach that leg away. And we breathe in, we place it back down onto the mat. And just alternate with your breathing, so each exhale, the other leg will go out. And just be mindful of what happens when you're changing from one leg to the other. There should be very little movement from the middle, so we're not rocking about on the mat. And then when you're happy with that, we're going to start to add in our arms. So we're going to go breath in, breath out. Opposite arm goes overhead, and then breath in to return. Breath out, we're going to switch sides. breath in to return. So more to think about. We're back to thinking about don't let the ribs lift. Yeah, so any overhead movement, we want to dissociate our shoulder and our rib cage movement. So there's no arching of the back as we're taking the limbs out and away. Breathing out, use that deep core reach away. Breathing in to come back in. Exhale. Inhale, hold that shape on the mat. So if you feel that you're losing your posture, just pause, reset, and then join back in. Okay, then we're just going to double the arms. So it's a little bit more work into your core to stop you from going into those compensations. So with both hands going overhead, it's going to feel more challenging to hold that shape on the mat. So a little bit more focus. Feel that deep tummy, pelvic floor lifts. Again, go back to your cue. Is it the elevator lifting? Breathing out, breathing in. Is it a belt tightening? Exhale there, inhale back in, whatever works. Everyone is different. We'll just do a few more here. Holding that shape. The more you do, just go back to that posture. Last one. And take a rest. Place the weights down and have a stretch, whether that's hugging your knees in towards you, or maybe you feel more comfortable just rocking your knees from side to side. Whichever stretch you're going for, we'll just have a little regroup here. Okay, so we're going to come onto the side now, and you need your ball or your pillow. You're going to rest your top knee onto the ball or the pillow, about hip height, and straighten your lower leg out underneath you. Okay, and try and level out your waist. So just lift your lower waist slightly. So it's like you're creating a little mouse hole in that lower waist, so that you can keep length through this top waist. Yeah, so we're not bunching up. So this is your move. So you're going to take a breath in to prepare. As you breathe out, start to feel that pelvic floor, deep tummy work. Point your toes, hover the leg. As you breathe in, slowly lower it down, release the core, let it go. So each lift of the leg, we find that connection into the tummy. And as we lower, we release. Don't go too high. If you're going too high, we're going to start to bunch that top waist up. So think about length. As you reach that leg up, point your toes. Try and touch the opposite side of the room. Yeah, so we've got this really good connection between our inner thighs and our core, and that's what I want you to focus on here. So you'll feel that to lift your leg up, you've got to use your adductors, so your inner thigh muscles. But feel how that's very connected into the front of the body here. So we feel that pelvic floor, we feel the lower deep tummy start to work with us. And as you breathe in, lower it back down. And again, use that exhale to lift, inhale to lower. So each time you lift, like a little zip comes up through your middle, and release, let it go. You're using that same connection each time you lift and lower. And we'll do a few more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So before we go on to the other side, we're going to come into kneeling. Placing the ball between your knees. With or without hand weights, it's up to you. You can always start without and then build them in when you feel a bit more confident. So the first thing is, what's our posture going to look like on our knees? So that we shouldn't have our ribs flared. So the ribs should be stacked over the pelvis. So we've got this straight line coming up, lifting through the crown of your head, holding the weights in front of you. Squeezing the ball between your knees. Get those knees tight and close together. In breath to prepare. Out breath. Feel that deep tummy. Feel the pelvic floor kick in as you reach your hands up. As you breathe in, lower it down, let it go. Okay? And if 2 weights feel too much, but you want a bit of a challenge, maybe it's just 1 weight. So we go Out breath, reach using the core. In breath, lower down. And because we're reaching the hands up and overhead, watch for that. Okay, so we keep our ribs stacked in over the pelvis. So the only thing that's moving is your shoulders. Okay, so breathe out, squeezing that ball. Pelvic floor's lifting, lower tummy is tightening. We're not bracing, we're not using those bigger muscles. We've got that deep control from the core. In breath, lower. Out breath, squeeze and lift. In breath and lower down. And then all we're going to do is add a little bit of movement from your hips. So we're going to fold forwards first. Now as you breathe out, find that connection again, reaching up. And breathe in, folding back down. And again, squeeze and reach. If it's too much to add the hip motion in, just stick to a static reach as we were just doing. Completely up to you. Breathing out on that upward reach, breathing in on the lower. Yeah, using that lift. Okay, use your cue. One more. Great. Then we're going to go and do that inner thigh sequence on the other leg. So down we go, pop the knee onto the ball, reaching the lower leg underneath you. And just find that little lift of your lower waist so that you're not losing the length through the top. In breath to prepare. As you breathe out, we feel the deep core, we feel the pelvic floor. We lift, not too high, and breathe in, lower that leg back down. And again, using that cue, whether you're going to lift the elevator up, or you're going to feel the belt tighten around your lower tummy area, whatever works. But again, we're going to go back to no bracing, no gripping, no doming. We're using those deeper muscles, setting our foundations. And we'll do a few more here. Exhale on the lift, inhale on the lower. We do another 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Rolling over onto your back, give yourself a hug, bring those knees in towards you. And there we go, all done.